I don't name stuff. I have many facets of weird, and I admit that, but naming like inanimate objects is not one of it. But I don't mind people who do. I don't mind at all. What's up, GQ? I'm Dacre Montgomery, and these are my 10 essentials. So for me, my first essential is my lighting. I'm super weird about my space. I'm really OCD about the house, and I love my space. I think space is all about light. You can buy these smart lighting packages called Hue, H-U-E light bulbs. Basically, you connect this box to your Wi-Fi router, and that box creates a little Wi-Fi network for all of the light bulbs in your house. When we moved into our new place, I started building a lighting scape that was like predominantly these light sort of purpley hues, and everything's on the floor and shines up. I hate downlights. I'm really weird about downlights and I never use them. So in our living room, we've got a couple, and in our bedroom, we also have a couple, and then I have one in my office behind this marble slab that just sort of kind of illuminates the edging. I'm super sensitive about it. When I sort of go to bed, I slowly bring the whole light in the house down over half an hour when I'm getting ready for bed. I'm really interested in lighting. I'm really interested in how it can completely change a mood and a space, but it's really important for me to build a lighting scape in my space. That's a big thing when I travel, which is probably my segue into the second essential. I don't have smart lighting, so I have to use candles. Again, it's that whole downlight thing. I don't like to have downlights, so we buy candles when we're away, whether they're just your normal white candles or they're something like this, more of a designer candle with like a really nice scent in it. This is Balinese Ylang Ylang. This is a popular brand in Australia, super nice, smells fantastic. But yeah, so candles when we're away, I sort of are a heavy supplement. But when we're here, as you'll see, we've got like candelabras all through the house, and I go through a ton of tea lights and a ton of small candles, and it's kind of it. When I'm having a shower at night and I'm getting ready for bed, we have this little marble slab that sits in our bathroom, and I just light one candle on there. It's all about lighting. When I grew up, my mum used to move the house around like every 2 weeks. She'd move all the furniture around, sometimes buy new things, change things up, and every night it was my job to set the table. The dining table was the center of our house. It was where we all came at the end of a long day, and where we all spoke about our day and shared experiences. So from a very young age, it was instilled in me that I didn't have to by any means, but I somehow had this profound engagement and interest in light and design and home. The idea of home became so important to me. It's just mainly around dinner time and after dinner if you're watching TV. That's the most important time for me to set the mood with candles. And I literally cannot focus on a movie. I'm so particular about my peripherals. When I go to the cinema, I have to sit first, second or third row and have nothing in my peripherals, because I feel like a movie or television should be a completely immersive experience. And then so when I'm at home, I feel obviously very OCD about my environment, right? So if I'm sitting and watching a movie, last night we watched Jackie Brown for the first time, and just everything kind of in my periphery has to match the film. And if that candle's out of place, I'm going to pause the film and I'm going to get up and shift it, till it's in the right place. So it's also heavily tied to film and television and dinner. Those two sort of entertaining experiences. The third thing in conjunction, I guess, with lighting, but again, a good segue into another essential, my car. I love cars, and I always do a ton of research before I buy a car. And so I went and bought a Mercedes E220D. It's one of those beautiful ones that you sometimes see on TV shows with the screen right across the dash and all of the lighting built in, and sound is so important to me as well. Fantastic audio system, and the preset of the lighting all the way through the car is the exact same purple hue as my whole house. From the outside, it's kind of just a white Mercedes sedan, but on the inside, it's all immersive, as I say, between this screen, which really attracted me, the lighting component, and then the sound component. And when I was lucky enough to be able to afford it, it was the first thing I went out and did. I don't name stuff. I'm not that. I have many facets of weird, and I admit that, but naming inanimate objects is not one of it. But I don't mind people who do. I don't mind at all. But I just got roof racks for it, which has changed the game, because I wanted to be able to put my surfboard, which is probably another good segue. So, this surfboard, you can see it. It's super cool. This is not the surfboard that I ride. I have a different one down in our shed next to our car. But But basically, this board was given to me by an Australian. He had a friend who is a photographer who takes these shots of, the ocean and surroundings. And this is some beautiful sort of foam off the ocean heading towards the shore. And then this is like that beautiful dark color the ocean can get. So I love it. So it actually exists as an art piece in our house. I have not been surfing for long at all. I've only been surfing for about a year and a quarter. My partner grew up surfing. She's a phenomenal surfer, and I have lots of mates that surf. I have a big connection to the ocean. I grew up freediving. It was part of my high school curriculum. You could opt to do it as a program. So I kind of fell in love with the ocean when I was really little. And then sort of through my adolescence, I had the opportunity on multiple occasions to sort of become a freediver. That was my thing. So surfing was just another way to have an excuse to go every day, basically. The surfboard that I actually use is an epoxy board. It's quite wide and it's about 36 liters, which is quite buoyant because I'm a chunky guy. So I like to have a more buoyant board. I quit coffee like 2.5 years ago because I was getting the shakes and I was just drinking way too much. So I took up drinking tea every morning instead, just regular old English breakfast or black tea. Every morning I get up and I have a cup of tea out of this teapot at the moment when we're home, which was like a nice little glass teapot from T2. It was a gift from my dad and his partner. Every night I go to bed, I brew this tea and I put it in the fridge and I get it really nice and cold. And then in the morning, I get up and I pour it in this cup with a dash of milk. And it's kind of my thing. I have like an iced, unsweetened tea, I guess, every morning. So I can't drink anything warm. I hate hot drinks. They just give me like, I don't know, the heebie-jeebies. Like I'm not really into it. So when I was little, my parents and I went to Japan and we went to this amazing pottery warehouse in Tokyo, full of these beautiful handmade Japanese plates, bowls, and cutlery, and all kinds of just amazing things. And we brought a bunch of it back, these beautiful grey handmade bowls. They've got like this amazing sort of rough texture on the outside, and then on the inside they're usually heavily glossed, and they have amazing patterns and prints and all kinds of stuff that's all hand painted underneath. When I eventually kind of moved permanently out of home, it was really important to me to have plates, bowls, and stuff like that. So we managed to get a whole bunch of Japanese bowls. And basically what I mean by that is something like this, which you can see it says made in Japan. And basically they just have amazing texture. They're really nice to touch. Everything looks amazing in there. So when we serve food, it looks pretty incredible. Something like this, as I say, which has sort of a rougher exterior and then it's super polished inside. And you can see all this cracked turquoise glass right in the middle there, which is just amazing. I don't know, it's always been a big thing, and we have obviously matching sets of bowls and plates and little bowls and side plates and stuff that are all this kind of milky color, like this piece of marble here. Like all the wood in our house matches our bowls. It's all this beige, light colored wood. A lot of time and attention to detail, and like it pays off because you just feel super comfortable in your own environment. My biggest source of productivity, especially as a freelancer, is my laptop, because I keep all of my research, information, writings, sketchings, everything on there. So my desktop is kind of a litter of just tons of different ideas or projects that I've had or things that I've been working on. Obviously, a big part of that is my poetry or writings, stuff that I've sort of done on the side. My poetry started out as a bit of a cathartic experience. I would always write when I was really anxious and basically just wrote, and I've just got piles of notes. And I've just finished my first book, which is basically a book of poems. So ground up, I've worked off my laptop on that book. So this is my laptop. It's just a regular old Mac. Unfortunately, again, in keeping with the aesthetic, I like that sort of super sleek space gray. No stickers or anything. I'm a bit of a cheapskate, as they say, so I actually don't have any like paid software on my laptop, so I just use Pages. And then I also pull up in tandem a little notes box. So I'm working kind of in one level of consciousness here, which is more like a stream of consciousness, and then I pull lines that I like out as I'm going and copy and paste them across. But I'll always have like a Spotify bar running in the bottom right hand corner to kind of like tandem whatever my mood is to help get those notes onto the page. I've only done a couple of projects in my career, but whenever I finish a project, I have it leather bound. I have this company in Sydney that helps me do it, and basically I just put them all together like this. So this was the first film I ever did, Power Rangers, and I just pulled a script and I put it inside the book. No matter what the film becomes and what the edit looks like, this is usually the wrap script. And then I just put in there, chapter 1. Chapter 2 is Stranger Things, which was the second project that I worked on. So basically I took, I think, episode 201, chapter 1, Mad Max. Chapter 3, which is Stranger Things, season 3, and The Broken Heart Gallery, which is chapter 4. And then I have my own script, which was the first script that I wrote. It was my short film In Vitro, which is called chapter 1, from a different category, I guess, being my own. And I had that bound in sort of black faux leather. But I had this idea after Power Rangers, and I think during Stranger Things, that I just wanted this memory of something. So these have been great, and it's not something I look at all the time, but it's definitely nice to have them here. I also keep memorabilia from sets, which you could say is probably stolen, definitely. So from Broken Hearts, I took Nick's bracelet, and then I have a box of stuff, which is full of different things. So I have the denim jacket that I wore as Billy, and I have a box of Marlboro Red cigarettes, because I wanted to smoke them instead of herbal cigarettes as Billy, because the smoke is thicker and it feels like an honest portrayal. And then when I did Power Rangers, there was this massive glass wall made of this stuff called obsidian rock, which was like when we discovered the key to unlock the whole narrative of the film. There were these coins inside the wall, and on the night they had these massive cannons blow up the glass. I grabbed a piece and I still have it. So it's a little thing from each project. I always kept stuff. When I would travel as a kid, I had a diary. My mum would say, do you want to keep a diary? And I was terrible with writing in it. I would stick like a pebble, and I would put the pebble in the diary, and I would go, lived in Switzerland with mum for 3 months. Here's the pebble from my time. Or we'd go to Canada and I'd get a little piece of wood, and I would stow it in my thing and make up a story about it or whatever else. And I went home over the quarantine break and basically pulled out this box for the first time in years full of these little things. And you have to really think about it, because now it's just a box of pebbles and wood. It forces you to use it as a touchstone and go, what was happening in that point in your life and all that sort of stuff. So everything is symbolic. Another big thing for me, and this truly I feel is an essential, is sound. Growing up, and still now, my dad was a sound recordist, and when I was little, he taught me the value of sound, of picking up and hearing every single piece of dialogue and every little taste and texture in someone's mouth, the movement of their clothes, the scene. So when I was little, I was exposed to that, and I was exposed to a stepfather who listened to so much music and introduced me to the power of music, I guess. It was extremely important to me to have a really good sound system in our house. So we have all these Sonos speakers all throughout our house, and I love adjusting them to different regions of our house, like our lighting. Our bedroom has kind of one thing going on, and our kitchen and our living room and our lounge room and my office and so on and so forth. But the biggest reason that audio is so essential to me, it's again part of my routine. Every morning I get up and I listen to the same album, and I can't start my day any other way. It's an album by an artist called Nick Drake. I get up every morning and I put it on, and that's kind of the way I get through my day. And when it comes to dinner, I have another album that I play while we're cooking. Audio, sound, is everything to me. We listen to white noise when we're sleeping. It's like I use it to ebb and flow. Everything in my life is tailored to sound and noise. I know those around me are so sick of it because I listen to the same music at the start and mostly at the end of the day, but it really does help me to get into one zone, and it's a really good way that I've used to sort of channel my anxiety, and it sort of levels me out. Every morning I get up, I pour the tea, and that just hits me in, and then every night I turn on my lighting, my candles, and then it's like, okay, I'm in evening mode. Thank you everyone for listening. Those were my essentials, and this is kind of welcome to my crazy, weird life of things.